The richest person of all time is not Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or Bill Gates. Their wealth isn't even close to making them the richest people of all time. Let's venture back to 14th century Africa, where we find Mansa Musa, considered by many historians the richest person to ever live. Mansa Musa ruled the Mali Empire in Africa for 25 years, was extremely rich in salt and gold. Some sources estimate they were the largest gold producer in the world, and had more than half of the world's total supply. So Mansa spent the early part of his reign expanding Mali's trade routes, which allowed them to trade their gold and salt all across Africa and Asia. Under his leadership, the Mali Empire tripled in size. He conquered 24 major cities, and it's believed he never lost a battle in his lifetime. However, Mansa also got many territories to join the Mali Empire willingly, due to the relatively high quality of life its citizens had. However, Mansa wasn't content with that. He wanted to truly put the Mali Empire on the map to the whole world. Now, since he was a devoutly religious Muslim, he had already planned to go on a pilgrimage to Mecca, and then he realized he could use this trip as an opportunity to capture the world's attention. And thus in 1324, he began the most extravagant pilgrimage in human history. The voyage, which would span an estimated 4,000 miles, was traveled by Mansa Musa with tens of thousands of soldiers, slaves, and heralds, draped in Persian silk and carrying golden staffs. One account estimated up to 60,000 people traveled with him, each carrying up to hundreds of pounds of gold. It's fair to say it was a spectacle that got noticed. But Mansa also gave away huge amounts of gold to the poor he met along his route, and it was reported he built a mosque every Friday. Having said that, his generosity somewhat backfired, as it's also claimed that he spent so much gold on souvenirs during his journey that he destabilized the local economy and caused mass inflation, since these territories had never had so much gold before, and he was handing it out so freely. And, if you think about that, it highlights how absurdly rich Mansa Musa was, that he essentially caused a financial crisis by spending too much on his travels. When he finally returned from his pilgrimage, the Mali Empire had annexed Timbuktu under his orders, and he established it as the epicenter for commerce in the region. He had also brought back with him scholars and architects, who helped him build schools and mosques. Mansa even established the first major university in the region, which could take up to 25,000 students, and had one of the largest libraries in the world. All of these different building projects further elevated the city's reputation, and helped attract even more top scholars from all over Africa, and beyond. And therefore, many historians credit Mansa with leading the Mali Empire to even greater prosperity and development. However, whilst Musa didn't put the Mali Empire on the map as he wanted, it didn't quite have the intended consequences. As news of their huge wealth and gold supplies made its way to Europe, several European powers saw an opportunity to conquer the empire and take the resources for themselves. But, by that point, Mansa would have died, and already cemented himself in history as one of the richest people to ever live. Now, as for how rich he was, some estimates put Mansa's modern-day wealth equivalent at between $400 to $500 billion, but remember, it is extremely difficult to accurately compare today's money with a fortune that was built on salt, gold, and territory. So, I guess you could say, take this estimate with a very big pinch of salt. However, because historians can't quite agree on how to compare wealth from so many centuries ago, that means the title of the richest person ever is still up for debate.